going on, everybody? I've been out in the shop all day today working on a fun project. A friend of mine's 66 Chevelle. I'm doing quite a few different things to it, but one of the main things that we're doing to this car is rewiring it. And I am putting the MSD power grid ignition system in it. And I figured now would be a good time to maybe make a quick little video here, a tutorial on like how I use the MSD power grid to manage power and as far as like launch retard and some of the other features in the power grid that maybe I'll be able to shine some light on it and maybe help you guys with your project. So anyways, this is a really cool car. I'll show you here. It's got a hydraulic roller 540 in it with a 671 on it. One of the things is we put some lightweight tubular A-arms on it. Changed out the third member today. That was today's project. Oh, and we put that nice bolt through aluminum strange third member in it. Anyways, I will get the laptop set up and get the camera set up to where we can watch me go through that. Okay, so I wanted to make this video basically to help you guys understand the MSD power grid. We've been using this system for a long time and it really does work, and I hope that I can help you guys maybe with your projects. This, in my opinion, if you're building a car that you're going to race enough, the MSD power grid is like a must. The sky's the limit. It'll communicate with race pack. It's just a really good system. But first off, is originally we were just using the step retard function for the nitrous is all we were using, and then eventually we got to a point where the car was making enough power that we needed to maybe build a timing ramp, a launch retard function. So we started using the launch retard function, and with some friends and lots of research and lots of trial and error, we basically figured some stuff out. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but it has worked for us, and we have kind of transferred it all over into what we are using now. And as far as like the Link ECU stuff for managing power with the ProCharge car, and it seems to be working with that too. So I always feel like if you can leave under all the initial power that you have in the car. So if you got 36 degrees of timing, you leave with 36 degrees of timing, and then at like 0.15, that's when you dip the power out of it to control some wheel speed. So what that does, or what I've noticed that does, is it sets the chassis. It brings the front of the car up and it sets the tire, and the tire, a half of a tenth of a second is like nothing, you know what I mean? So the initial whack of letting go of the trans brake button, it sets the tire absorbs that initial hit, and then you control that tire with timing after that. So I always wait a tenth and a half, maybe even 2/10 before I dip any power out of the car. I'm sure there's other ways of doing it, and or better ways of doing it, but we have noticed over the years with my car and some of the other cars that I've helped with, this works. So hopefully you can see this. I'm not going to get too carried away in it, but So you have time from launch and ignition timing. So you have a trans brake input that as soon as you push the trans brake, there's an input signal that goes to the MSD power grid. And as soon as that 12 or 16 volts um, is released from that input, it starts the timer. So either you have it on a trans brake, you have it on a foot brake, or you have it on like your clutch pedal, whatever, however you're going to have it set up in your car to where as soon as you release that power that you have for the input, the timer will start. So that's time from launch. And you always leave the first boxes at zero, zero and zero. And then whenever you want to pull the power out of it, I always do it one thousandths before you want to pull it out. So at 0.14, for example, I want to pull the power out at 0.15, but you have to have another box at 0.14 to hold that initial power out to that 0.15, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, I'm sorry. Hopefully we'll get it figured out. So for example, this car that we're working on has 36 degrees of timing in it, and we let go of the trans brake button, and at 3/4 of a second out there, it sets the chassis okay, but it gets out there and it gets up on the tire and spins. So we want to pull 10 degrees of timing out, and I've noticed that if you pull it and just pull it out, if you go from 36 degrees right to 26 degrees, it usually will catch the tire. And this is just an example. And what I mean is if you were to have like a linear soft, if you were pulling, say, from 36 degrees to 26 degrees over like 2 or 3 tenths of a second, it would be kind of like a linear ramp, so it would pull all that 10 degrees out slowly. Well, the whole deal is you're trying to save the tire, catch the tire from spinning. So I've noticed that if you just check mark the power out, it always works the best. So say we're going to pull 10 degrees out. So you go -10 in the ignition timing, and that just check marked out. So you're going to say you want to hold that power out for, and this is just a generic ramp, till 0.75. So we'll hold out 10 degrees. Say it's a really bad surface. So say we're going to hold the power out for 3 seconds. And then you can go 0. And so now, if you bring your mouse cursor up here, and up here in the top right, there's a yellow highlighted area where it says the first number is the time, and the second number is how much timing is still pulled out. So if you run that cursor along there, it'll tell you how much power is out at, say, like right here at 2 seconds. There's still 4 degrees of timing out at 4 seconds. So that's when you kind of figure out whatever data system you're using. Maybe you can add a little bit of power or take a little bit more power out, or maybe you don't need the power taken out as long. Whatever works for you or your car. Every car is different. But personally, I've just noticed if you can just check mark that power out and pull it right down to what your overall goal is, to catch that tire from spinning, it works the best. So this feature I've noticed is probably one of my favorite things in the grid. And we've had timing ramps that look like, say we're gonna hold 4 degrees out, and then at say 5 seconds, it runs over by then in a big tire car usually. So we're gonna hold 4, and then at 5.01, put it back to 0. We've done stuff like that, or even, you don't have to check mark it back into your initial timing, but you could say over 5.5 seconds. Let's just do that. So it comes back in. So we've had ramps that look like that. We've had them where you add a dot here and then you soften it. It don't take as much here, and then, oh man, we got to add another dot. So you can just right click and add a dot, and boom. So, and you can save all these settings, so you can go back and you can label them and do whatever you want to do. And then obviously your data system is really important. You can this hooks right up to race pack, so you can get all your race pack data. The data recording from the grid is really good. It shows you your RPM and everything that happens through the run. And then obviously your step retards is basic. You got 1 through 5. These are your nitrous, or if there's tricks you could do with a button on the steering wheel to add or take away timing. The sky's the limit with this stuff. And then you got gear retard, gear curves, shift retard. I haven't got into the gear curve stuff, but I know it works. I've heard of people using it, and so you can have, in your settings, you can set up, like, if you just have a power glide, you can eliminate all these extras. But so it just has 1 and 2 ramp, but you can have a shift retard where you want it to pop a couple degrees of timing out when you shift the car. And then your rev limiters obviously are simple. Your burnout rev limiter is basically input to the light blue wire on the trans brake or on the line lock. And then your launch rev limiter is activated by your trans brake, which is a dark blue wire. And then all these safety rev limiters and all that stuff. I usually max out the safety runtime to 12 to the max, which is 12 seconds. So you don't ever have that problem of it running out of time before you let go of the button. Because if you don't, and you don't max these out, then halfway through the run, the rev limiter will come on, your safety time rev limiter. At least in my experience, this is all my experience. So don't beat me up here. But so, anyways, I wanted to put this on here just to kind of show everybody the ins and outs of the MSD power grid system. I feel like it's really good technology, and it's almost a must to have in a nitrous car, or even a fuel injected car that you're using the MSD to manage all your ignition and all that stuff. But hopefully this video was helpful, and please comment and let me know if you guys want any more of this stuff. Thanks. Okay, since this was such a short video, I wanted to, I had a few people asking me how my car was coming along in the last video that we posted on YouTube and also on Facebook. Hey, quiet down over there. And so the short story is it's coming along slowly but surely. A couple months ago, we got the firewall put in the car. I'll show you guys. It turned out awesome. I'm super excited and happy with the way it turned out. We have a few little things. I got seatbelt tabs that I gotta get welded in. A few little things. I got the drive lane safety loop, and we'll probably be making the removable panel there, and so I can get everything painted as a goal. I'd like to have everything painted before too long, because I'd like to get the motor out of it, get the front end all redone, painted and whatnot. So anyways, thanks for checking in on my car and stuff. And sometimes I look at this car and can't believe how far it's came, and without the help from my friends and family and everybody that keeps me motivated, I appreciate it. So like and subscribe, and if you guys have any comments, good or bad, let's hear them. See ya.